bring the meeting to order if you don't mind. We've settled down now and socially separated, so I'm going to take my mask off. Appreciate everybody being here, and I'll remind the board, pretty heavy click there on the left corner will mute your phone at red, and it's live on blue, and as I moved papers. Mine is not working? Yes, ma'am.
Maybe scoot it closer to you.
How about now, Greg? Everybody all right? Okay. Okay, thank you. If you'll please stand, the flag is behind. Ms. Robinson will recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Vaughn, we have a full roll, and I have to adjust on the fly. I had a note to move Ms. Blackwell up to the front because she's got a city meeting, but she thinks the city meeting is going to last a shorter period of time. She's asked me to unremove her and take her back to the back. So I'm now going to ask for a motion to accept the agenda as presented, please. Motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Fogarty. Anything else? If not, if you're for the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Is there any individual here to address the board on an agenda item or a non-agenda item? If not, let's go to the consent agenda, which includes only the minutes. Is there a motion to accept the minutes on the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Fogarty. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Lawson. Any further discussion? If not, if you're for the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Unfinished business. Grounds report. We had a meeting on July the 2nd at the administration building, and it's incredible all the work that's being done there and what it's going to look like in a couple of months. The flooring and furniture is supposed to be here in about 8 weeks, trying to do both together. The painting is almost completed, if not completed, and we've been assured that Ms. Darlington and her crew have worked out a new audio system for the boardroom that's going to be much better. At the high school, OLG is meeting with Brad Jean in the last week to begin the drainage work, and we're very confident that that's going to probably be done before the season, hopefully, the season hopefully starts before it starts. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like FDR now.
Should we mute so that it's better quality for everyone? Do we need to unmute and mute?
Yeah. Y'all need to be read. Is that a lot better, isn't it, Diane? Okay. This building here, the main hallway and the hallways in the 101 building have been painted. I took a little self-tour as I came in, and there's a whole lot of cove base that's been replaced too. The band room, we're supposed to be getting bids in later this week. The field house flooring has been ordered, which was, there was a nice article in the paper about that. And let's see, we also have had both gym floors already resurfaced, and Lee School also has been, their gym has been resurfaced. At West, there's been a lot of pressure washing done, and if you haven't not been by there, go by, because there was a whole lot of shrubbery and some trees that were really kind of blocking the view of the school have been trimmed. At East Middle, the visiting soccer dugout has been completed except for the roof. I was over there a couple of days ago, and that's going to be a nice addition, and the visitors will be treated as well as our home team. There is a ditch between the soccer area and the softball area that was protected environmentally that Coach Olive has worked with the state, and we were able to trim a lot further back into that than had been originally. Ceiling bids came in, and that will be an action item when we get finished here. The Bel Air chimney has now been flashed, so I'm anxious I'm not looking for a hard rain. It's dangerous, but it'd be interesting to see how we do when the first good rain comes in. Is there anything that I have not covered, Mr. Hill or Ms. Lawson? All right, let's continue on. Any questions or comments on the building and grounds? If not, yeah, well, maybe to get Jason to check on that one tomorrow.
I didn't hear.
She asked about there was a good rain yesterday. And she is correct. Why don't we check with the Tim's people over there and see how that we fared there in the basement?
Be glad to.
Jason, walk us through the ceiling tile bids at East and Bel Air, please.
All right, thank you, Chairman. We recently accepted bids for ceiling tile replacement at both Bel Air and East Middle School. We had 2 vendors respond. Each vendor toured both buildings, had the opportunity to do as much looking, question asking, etc., that they would need to make reasonable pricing. The pricing we asked for was for both the removal and disposal of the existing tile and the track support system, installation of new support, and 2x2 ceiling tile and cleanup. We had 2 bidders, as I mentioned, both from the Nashville area. The low bidder on both projects was Abshire Interior Acoustics. Their price on the Bel Air project was $135,000 even. Their competitor's price was $208,000 even. Abshire's price on the East Middle project was $185,000. And the competitor's price on East was $283,000. The Building and Grounds Committee is recommending working with Abshire Interior Acoustics for both of these projects. The total bid amount for both projects is $320,000, and these projects were both included in the new year's budget. Mr. Chairman.
Any questions or comments? Both of those buildings need it bad, and I believe did All Interiors, did they give us what their estimate was that this bid would be? Because it's just $2,000 higher than the estimate, I believe. The amount that was given to the Finance Committee originally was, I think, $318, wasn't it?
I believe that's correct. Yes, it was pretty close to the expected cost.
They did a nice job getting us on our plan. I'll entertain a motion then if there's not any more questions or comments to accept the bid from Abshire at $320,000 for both Bel Air and East. So, Jason, if you don't mind, Mr. Ray, would you walk us through the time period that they're working with us on the installation of it?
Certainly. We had originally asked in the bid if Bel Air, since it was the smaller square footage of the 2 buildings, if it could potentially be accomplished over fall break and East Middle accomplished over the winter break. We understand that would be quite the task to accomplish in that shorter period of time with the amount of square footage. We will work with Abshire if they do get this contract to get those accomplished as quickly as possible. It may involve some weekend work, etc., but they're willing to do that.
At no higher cost, so that they're willing to work with us to get the job. All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Robinson. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Hill. Any further questions or comments? If there being none, if you're for the motion, please respond by raising your hand. Any opposed? Thank you very much. 2021 budget, Dr. Stevens and Jason.
We'll turn it over to Mr. Ray to start the conversation.
At our June meeting, you all gladly passed a budget for the 2021 year. On that very evening, we received a new estimate from the state on our BEP amount for the 2021 year. Unfortunately, it was $266,000 less than our previous estimate, and so therefore it was $266,000 less than our approved budget. We are required by state statute to pass a balanced budget. And so we went back to the drawing board with Budget Finance Committee to see where we could make that happen. Additionally, as we discussed at the study session in July, Dr. Stevens brought to light our need and her desire to reestablish the deputy director position and add 3 nurses to achieve a ratio of 1 nurse per school building. In an effort to accommodate these changes, we've reviewed and adjusted line items in the budget to better reflect both historical spending and anticipated revenue and expenditures. Some highlights include returning our maintenance of repair and building line back to $260,000. If you'll recall from previous meetings, we had increased that line item in the 2021 year, or had hoped to increase it by $100,000. We're recommending moving that back to the $260,000 number that we've had previously. We also had in the 2021 budget the purchasing of 2 buses that you all approved previously, coming out of the revenue for this year. We'd like to move that from the general purpose budget to taking that money out of the reserve fund. That would free up $190,000. It's also important to let you know that we were able to expend $161,900 of our capital projects that we had anticipated and budgeted for in the 2021 budget out of the 1920 revenue. As a result of moving the bus expenditure reserve funds, this alters our request from the reserve by $39,444 to $1,519,444. Our total budget moved from $35,936,947, and this move would change that to $35,670,947, which is a difference of $266,000. Be glad to answer any questions this time, and Dr. Stevens, any input you'd like to have also.
No other comment yet. I definitely need to, I think we all need to commend Mr. Ray on the work. He did a great job, find some areas where we can accomplish what we need to get accomplished. I had not had a chance to talk to him today, but as you know, the 1920 fiscal year was over the end of June, and he's not had a chance to completely close the books. But he was getting very close to in our last conversation. I was very confident he was going to be able to return more money to the fund balance, even after moving some of those capital projects from the 2021 year back to the 1920 year. He's done a great job. Any other questions about our recommendation from the Finance Committee?
I just had a quick question. I don't know how to turn this on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
So I guess my only question is that on the 266, there was no way to incorporate any of the CARES Act money to accomplish any kind of reduction in that overall number. I mean, like the CARES Act money couldn't be used, I know, for certain things, but there was no way to even use any of that, correct, to offset some of that?
CARES Act had already been
Allocated?
Encumbered.
Okay. Okay. And then the only other question, well, I might have more questions, but maybe I won't. Are we going to, so we're going to vote on this tonight? Is it a one, or what's happening? Maybe just give me an idea.
And then we're going to come back, okay, if that's the will of the board, the deputy and the 3 nurses separately.
Separate of the budget.
Correct, but it's in, those positions are in this.
Correct. So then the deputy director, can you guys explain how that salary compensation, has that already been, I see that we've got a job description, so has that already been? Oh, it's fine. I don't need to talk anymore. I'm just asking, has that been already kind of determined?
It was all.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It needs to be on blue. Yep. There.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, that was my last question, is how did that, or just trying to understand that compensation and who kind of provided that?
That'd be Dr. Stevens, Mr. Ray.
Mr. Ray.
Tell me if I'm headed down the same path as what you need to know. Previously, the personnel director and as well the...
Hey, maybe if you don't mind, just turn your mic on, because it's so rerouted, I can barely, but I hear you better just talking.
So don't fiddle is what I heard.
Don't be fiddling.
That was previously in a line item that was encapsulated under the attendance function, and I'm going to use accounting terms. We broke out this year, if you'll recall, the HR function away from the attendance function just to be cleaner and follow state guidance on that. So in the detailed budget, there is a line item for the deputy director, and then within that human resource grouping of accounts would be the benefits section that corresponds with the deputy director.
I guess, I think mine was, quick tap. I'm liable now. I think it's fine, unless it won't pick up. It'll pick up from there. Okay. So I guess my only question is just, is that figure just a full, is it just a rollover from what was previously assigned in that category? Is that what you're telling me?
So the amount that was in it previously, the budget a year ago or more, is the same amount that is in there now. Is that what you're asking?
I guess. I was trying to figure out, like, I didn't know if we had just researched specific to knowing that that was the current going rate or whatever. That was what I was thinking. We did a lot better than
There is a specific line item that is in the budget, or that is in a salary schedule, and that's what we used.
Okay.
I promise I'm not fiddling.
If you're not even moving, I'll do this for you.
It was a line that was never removed from the salary schedule, and so it's still there, yes.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out whether we had assessed whether or not that was like just where we needed to be, or like we're just kind of rolling over, or if we're saying, well, let's like see what that looks like commensurate with other systems, or I just didn't know how much that was involved.
We just used the same amount that was there previously on that line item.
So will then you guys be able to, within this job description, adjust that at all, or no, we're here and this is what's happening?
It is possible that someone on that line of the salary schedule may not reach the amount that was budgeted. That's possible, depending upon degrees, years of experience, and so forth.
Okay, okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, you're welcome.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept
I don't have it on.
the budget amendment from 2020 to 2021.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the budget amendment for the 2020
I make a
and
motion.
2021 year.
I will make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lawson. Any further questions or comments? If not, if you're for the amendment, please respond by raising your hand. And is there any opposed? Thank you. Deputy Director, Dr. Stevens.
Yes, the Deputy Director of Schools is a critical district-level position focused on the efficient and effective administration of personnel and operational services of the school district. Administration recommends that this position be moved back to Tullahoma City Schools staff position with a 261-day contract. Per Board Policy 5.116, when a new position is added, board members must be provided a job description, the qualifications necessary, and professional responsibilities, such as the essential duties and/or responsibilities of the role. And it is important for you to know, because in board policy it asks for me to address evaluation. This person in this position will be evaluated by me annually.
Any questions or comments? consulted Mr. Miller on this, but I'm not too sure that the amendment would not be enough that we've already okayed to have this since it's in that budget. But I applaud Dr. Stevens' attempt to be transparent in this, where she's asked the board to vote on both the deputy and the nurses. Any other questions or comments?
So Dr. Stevens, just real quick, just for a point of contact or point of information.
Yes.
When you talk about evaluations, will those be written or provided to the board per se?
Typically, evaluations of individuals are not provided to the board.
No. But there will be a written, I'm assuming.
There will be an annual evaluation, yes.
Any further questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendation to have a deputy director of schools. Motion by Ms. Fogarty.
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Any further questions or comments? If not, if you're for the motion, please respond by raising your hand. Are there any opposed? Thank you. And the nurses, Dr. Stevens.
As discussed during the June 30th board study session, the addition of 3 school nurses is essential to ensure all students and staff have adequate support related to any and all health needs or conditions. Of course, the challenging times of COVID-19 certainly escalate the need to have 1 school nurse in every building. The administration recommends the addition of 3 school nurses to Tullahoma City Schools, ensuring that every school has its own nurse to provide immediate support and assistance when needed. As this is not a new position to the district, that is the reason you don't have a job description. Just wanted to lift that up since you had one for the other one.
Any questions? Again, it may have been, it's probably needed before COVID, but now I don't think we have much of a judgment to make. This is a slam dunk. I'll entertain a motion to accept the nurses.
I make a motion to accept the 3 nurses.
Motion by Mr. Hill. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Lawson. Any further discussion? If not, if you're for the motion of the nurses, please respond by raising your hand. Are there any opposed? Thank you. And policies, section 1. Ms. Vaughn, I don't have these policy changes in my packet. Is there one that we can see? Yeah, I couldn't find it, but I'm sure I'm deficient there.
Okay.
Ms. Johnson, go ahead, please. And let's let her, this may take a little while, but we're going to be patient.
Oh, do you want me to go word by word through every one of these?
Just give
Because I
a,
had a kind of a synopsis.
that's fine. That's fine.
Okay,
If we want a word by word, we can read it ourselves.
that's
Thank
right. The paperwork is included for you to see what it goes through, and then you can open your big fat policy manual and look at the whole policy yourself. We worked very hard on this section, and we have several changes that we will recommend to section 1. The changes have been put in the attachment. The recommended changes to section 1 were presented with the agenda in our previous study session. The policy work group requests waiving the second reading and moving to board approval on the following policies. That would be 1.101, 1.102, excuse me for just a second, 1.200, 1.2021, 1.300, 1.407, 1.801, 1.805, and 1.806. We want to recommend deleting policy number 1.1061 and replacing it with model policy 1.2021 to bring policy section 1 up to date.
All right, and you did not hit 1.808, and looks like that Mr. Miller's need to review that one first. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you're asking for all these to be accepted, except the last being 1.808. Is that correct?
Policy 1.1202 has been removed. That's
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4
Right.
down for recommendation in August. And also policy 1.400.
Okay.
And I did mention 1.407. The only, 1.407 is going to require some updates, but we wanted to put Jennifer Matlock's name in that policy as the district public records request coordinator because we're woefully behind on our information in that policy, and we need to bring that up to date.
Good.
And that takes care of everything.
Any questions? Ms. Vaughn, do you understand what we're voting on? Okay. Any other questions or comments?
She wrote
That
the
was a legitimate
script.
question because I had trouble following it too. Go ahead, Ms. Robson,
I don't have a question, I just have a comment.
please.
After serving on the policy committee, I would like to thank Sandy Vaughn for her help in this because she has worked tirelessly. And Amy also is like our leader. She really reads every word and looks at them closely. And when we meet, they kind of have already gotten things together for us to help us. But this is a huge accomplishment just to get this section 1
It is.
and everything in there approved. And so I just wanted to express my appreciation to you for all the work that you've done to keep us on task. And
Ms. Johnson's work and your all's work has been tireless, and I have said before that this is the last committee that I want to serve on, and I'm very pleased not to serve on it.
it's very interesting.
But the motion,
though. It's
the
really
work needs to be
interesting.
done, and y'all have done it well.
Thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendations by the committee. Motion by Ms. Usleton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Fogarty. Any further discussion? If not, if you're for the motion of the adoptions, please respond by raising your hand. Is there any opposed? Thank you. I'm going to hold on to that one. Continuous Learning Plan, Dr. Stevens.
Yes, and for a visual, this is the continuous learning plan. That is roughly 310 pages. As you know, it consists of the application itself and then the 8 specific sections, which is the CLP overview, the programmatic model, standards-based instruction, attendance, instructional technology, professional development, implementation, monitoring, and communication. So during the June 30th study session, as you will recall, we reviewed the requirements of the continuous learning plan, which must be submitted to and approved by the State Department of Education so we can provide distance learning to our students during the 2021 school year. And we can count that experience toward, remember, the 180 days and the 6.5-hour day. This plan addresses all necessary components, including communications, operations, staffing expectations, student schedule, instructional technology, and more. You have been provided the CLP. That was a very large item for Mrs. Vaughn to get to you, so appreciate her efforts to do that. And thank you for reading over it, and thank you for some of the feedback. We've already made grammatical corrections and changes, so I have a more recent copy than you do. And so we recommend approval so that we can indeed submit to the state tomorrow, July 14th, allowing plenty of time for any feedback they may provide and corrections we may need to make.
So this may or may not be final, depending on what the state's reaction, but I would like to point out that Dr. Stevens hasn't been here very long, but ours is either the first or one of the very first that's going to be submitted to the state.
Certainly. The deadline is
Her
July
work and her
24th.
staff's work is to be commended.
Thank you. I want to lift up Ms. Fanning and say, as you typically say, I want to sprinkle some kindness in the minutes for Ms.
You heard that, Ms.
Fanning.
Vaughn. Be sure
I've
to
heard
sprinkle.
that. And so I just really appreciate her coordinating and working with lots of different individuals to get these sections complete. And everyone in this room has participated in its development. So I'm certain we'll be the first. I bet it will be read very thoroughly and all of our attachments looked at closely, and we will appreciate the feedback and the fact that it is being deeply read and considered as our application.
Thank you.
I have a
Go
couple
ahead,
of questions. First of all, wow, that is major, major, major. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent reading it. I cannot imagine putting it together. Also, the professional development that was offered for our teachers and all the teachers that took advantage and staff that took advantage of that and the people that presented, that was fantastic. Very good, and so appreciative of all the people that helped out with that. One of the questions I had in the mix of the 310 pages, there you talk about Verizon hotspots. This may be, it's like $35 a month for unlimited use. Is that a CARES Act? Something that can be paid for by the CARES Act dollars?
I'll let Ms. Darlington address that.
Okay.
Borrow a microphone.
You want this one?
As far as the hotspots themselves, we would have to, there's a few things we'd have to do, and I'll let Dr. Stevens address the CARES Act. First, we have to know that there's a very strong Verizon signal at the home. And then also, it is unlimited data, but after you reach a certain point, the data speed slows down. So we would need to evaluate that and be sure that we're going to get as many hours as needed at that good speed. I do have a call in trying to get that figured out now and may just go ahead and get one and test that.
Okay.
So that is included in the application because we recognize we may need to think a little out of the box in some instances where, even though with CARES Act dollars, we're heightening our connectivity and getting some Wi-Fi distance out into a parking lot, it's possible that someone can't make it to that parking lot. So this will be really a case-by-case scenario, but we wanted it covered should we have to get to that place that we employ a hotspot. So that's why you're seeing it in there.
Okay.
But CARES dollars right now are not for that specifically. It's for connectivity, so increasing the strength of our Wi-Fi and the security and the devices.
Okay. I loved that. I thought it was great. The other thing that I read in there in one of the things was the support that the state is offering, and there's a number of things. And they're going to have a help desk where you can call in, and there actually is a parental support. So we want to make sure that we get that information to our parents. There's lots of them. I'll be anxious to see how well it works, but it sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, and we have taken advantage for our side some of the opportunities to call in and ask questions of a variety of folks as we've been working on this. So I know that the State Department of Ed really wants to be supportive in this work, but it is massive in nature. So it will be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
Well, it is very impressive. It is amazing how detailed it is. And I know y'all did a ton of work, everybody, and we just appreciate it so much.
On short notice. Any other questions or comments? Kim or Ms. Robson?
Once it's approved and we get it back, then I know it's very detailed, it's very long, because I was going to try to print it and I realized how many pages it was, and I was like, I can't print that. But will it be available?
Yes.
For parents or
Yes.
whoever would like to see it? So
Yes.
Okay,
It will be placed on our website or in a place that is easily reached, and we will convey that to all of our stakeholders.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Good questions. Are there any others? Not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the CLP as presented. A motion by Ms. Fogarty to do it. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Lawson. Any other questions or comments? In the absence of any, we will go ahead and vote. Those for the CLP, please raise your hand. Are there any opposed? Thank you. 2021 reentry plan.
Yes, thank you very
Color-coded
much.
chart. Go ahead, Dr. Stevens.
The TCS school reopening plan has been provided to you all for approval this evening. This is the document that we reviewed in draft form during the June 30th study session, which was also reviewed by 2 other school boards. This reopening plan clearly conveys the percentage of active COVID-19 cases and what options will be provided for school, as well as the various safety precautions that will be in place. We recommend approval of the 2020-2021 reopening plan. A couple of additional notes that I want to make about that. We started today and will continue every day providing on our social media platforms the number of active cases, what that percent spread rate is, so that our families, our stakeholders, our faculty and staff know exactly where we stand from day to day. That update will typically come close to 4 p.m. as we get that information a little bit later in the afternoon. So we hope that is helpful to everyone as we try to help folks see where we are. And on a side note, when we met June 30th, if you recall, we had 23 cases, active cases. Just short of 2 weeks later, we have 50. Active cases. That's quite a change in 2 weeks' time. So as you know, we're monitoring it every day, and that's one of the reasons we felt it important to start placing that information out to the public. Another piece of information, you know that we had the surveys going out to parents regarding student options, whether they wished to take the traditional return to school or the distance learning option. And what we recognized when we sent that survey, to be very candid, is we would not get a 100% response rate by the end of the day today. What we realized and knew going into this, we would hear from those who confidently had a selection that they were incredibly comfortable making. What our administrators heard when they came back last Wednesday, when we spent the full day together, is they will be provided the results of both surveys, and they will determine how to make contact with the families and the faculty and staff that have not yet responded. So those contacts will be made, and we will eventually hear from everyone. Thus far, in terms of students, we have heard from 2,114 students, parents, if you will, of our students, and that was at 4:15 today when I checked. We have 79% students right now returning. That's almost 1,700 students, and we have 21% not returning. That's about 450 right now. But we're shy, about 1,200 students. So we've got some work to do to figure out the true results in the end. That is a bit higher in terms of the return that we originally were seeing in that first survey. But remember, that global survey that was first done was really looking at overarching thoughts and included a model that we're not offering, which is the hybrid model. So we knew we'd see some change in those numbers. In terms of faculty and staff, as of 4:15 today, we'd heard from 451 faculty and staff. We have 443 returning, and we have 8 not returning. So that is a 98% response to returning and 2% not returning. In terms of students, as you can imagine, the largest school that has students selecting distance learning is the high school. And that is because that is our largest campus. So that does indeed make sense. We're looking at it school by school, grade by grade, to make decisions. As you can imagine, there's going to be some tricky work ahead as we navigate how to assign students, assign teachers, both in building and remotely. So our challenge awaits us in the coming days as the days are passing quickly and the first day of school is approaching. So there is much work to be done. Anyway, back to the reopening plan. We recommend accepting the reopening plan as represented.
Any questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Ms. Johnson.
I don't know if I can do this. Let's see. I gently pushed it, and nothing is happening, but I'm loud. So I wanted to say that I did check Facebook today, and I was pleased at that, the way we did that message. I'm losing my words. Whatever, I saw that post. I saw the post, and I thought it was really nice to state the record of cases and all.
Oh,
what's
good.
going on.
Thank you.
I like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
And thank you for explaining to everyone that ghost is killing me. Thank you for explaining to everyone that that administrators will seek out those who have not responded, because we have several parents who are still awaiting more information.
Yes.
And looking at the numbers.
Yes. And many of us, school leaders, myself, Ms. Fanning, many of us have had conversations with parents over the last few days about some of their questions, and we have appreciated their questions. And I believe from my vantage point in the conversations that I have had, everyone exited the phone call feeling better about the plan, but also understanding why the minute details were unable to be provided, because some of this information, as you all know, because you're so engaged in it, it's evolving each day. So anyway, I think it's been very positive, and they have felt better. That's my vantage point in the conversations that I've had and that I've heard about with parents.
Dr. Stevens, would you
Yes.
say that parents, if they do have lingering questions or remaining questions, are we at a place now where it would be advisable for them to contact the actual school?
Yes, so that's a great question, and thank you for asking that. Parents speaking to their school leaders is best, and the reason for that, some of their questions get into specific details. So, for example, how will temperatures be taken? Where will they be taken? So at the district, what we're saying is they will be taken upon arrival. The school leaders are evaluating what is the best way to get that non-negotiable in and done to promote safety. So reaching out to school administrators and leaders is best.
And interestingly enough, I think it's also going to be really powerful too when parents hear that 3 more nurses were approved, so just continue to kind of keep that information so that parents can have that relevant, important, timely information. And like you updating the Facebook on the stats is great. And I just want to make one quick mention that I find it very, word to be uplifting, I don't know what the word would be, but I mean, it kind of almost makes me, upset, or like in a good way, to have that many staff returning. I think just is like, that's just amazing. And so I think that really speaks to such a strong team effort. And so last night I had a situation happen, and it was a positive situation at a local business. And I just thanked them for the steps they're taking to keep our community safe. And I said, what the service you're providing is allowing for people who are in the highest risk category to really have this alternative way to stay safer, and it's so nice, and their comment was, if everybody could be really patient, because I came hobbling in on my boot and said, thanks so much, I had to come in to do this little transaction, but thank you for what you've done. And I think that, I just kind of explained to that person, to me, that's just what we have to extend to each other right now, is tremendous amount of patience, because absolutely no one has any idea how to do any of this.
Right.
And so just being
Patience and compassion.
Yeah, and I think that that'll trump all, and that'll keep us afloat, and that will help us to, do the best that we can. So,
Absolutely.
So just huge shout out to all of our staff for that commitment. That's really powerful.
I had the same thought when I saw those numbers. I was just so happy to see those numbers and know that they're going to come back.
Any other questions or comments? All previous are good. If not, I entertain a motion to accept the 2021 reentry plan.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Robinson. Any further questions? If not, if you're for the reentry plan as presented, please respond by raising your hand. Any opposed? 504 ADA Coordinator, Dr. Stevens.
Yes, this is a bit of a housekeeping item. On March 16, 2020, Jennifer Matlock was named as the Section 504 and Title II Coordinator. Administration recommends naming Dr. April Norris as the coordinator for Section 504 and for Title II, Americans with Disabilities, as this more closely aligns with her role and responsibilities in her position. So we recommend that you accept Dr. April Norris as the coordinator for Section 504 and Title II, Americans with Disabilities.
Any questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendation for the 504 ADA Coordinator to be Dr. April Norris. Motion by Mrs. Lawson. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Hill. Any further discussion? If not, for the motion, please respond by raising your hand. Any opposed? The Ethics Committee. We've had at least 2 instances where the Ethics Committee was convened, and Mr. Miller, I think, prudently has advised me that instead of being reactive, we have a complaint filed. It would make more sense to have one ready. And as a result, we have normally had a community attorney from outside the system that had worked on that board, and I have reached out to several firms and got a recommendation of Jeremy Bell from 3 different firms. I called him. He has children in the system. He's very interested in doing it, and was very honored to be asked. The policy then also normally requires, I believe, 2 board members, and I've asked Ms. Lawson and Mr. Hill to serve on that committee. Are there any questions or comments about that recommendation? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the names for the Ethics Committee being Mr. Jeremy Bell, Teresa Lawson, and Sid Hill.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Usleton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Fogarty. Any further discussion? If not, if for the motion for the Ethics Committee, please respond by raising your hand. Are there any opposed? Thank you. And the superintendent report, Dr. Stevens. Let me ask, is Ms. Blackwell back yet? Take a little extra long, man. Give us some time.
I'll sing my update. La, 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 la. Just kidding. As you all know, this has been a very busy month with the focus of our work being geared toward the 2021 reopening plan and the continuous learning plan, which ensures we are able to offer high-quality distance learning options for our students. I could present this as fill in the blank. Hey. I'm just kidding. All right, I'm trying to stretch out the time. Here we go. This past week, our principals returned on Wednesday, July 8th. We had a leadership meeting, and all members, district and school level, attended, even those whose contract for the year had not yet started, which was greatly appreciated, and their team membership and spirit was on fire. I would like to recognize each member who participated in this full-day meeting, as much discussion was had and ideas shared. The positive energy was contagious, and it was truly a good day. Thanks to Sandy for her work in organizing the day and ensuring we were well fed. Special kudos to the following folks who joined me in presenting on specific topics throughout the day: Susan Fanning, Gina Bumbalow, Jennifer Matlock, Angela Cardwell, Dr. Norris, and Dr. Duncan. Each presenter was well prepared for this day, full of helpful and timely information and engaging. I am so thankful to be here with this tremendous group of leaders. We received positive feedback about the day and all of the information received. You actually probably will hear the word good mentioned to that day, and if you're interested in knowing why, I may share that tidbit with you. Principals are working hard on the specific logistics at their buildings as they prepare for faculty and staff to return, as well as their students. They are all committed to ensuring a safe environment for all. I appreciate their dedication to the important work they're doing as they open up a school year as has never been done before. And I just have to say that one more time. No one in this room has ever opened a school year in these circumstances. And so I really do appreciate their tireless work that they're putting in right now. Their positive energy and team-focused spirit is exactly what is needed during this time. Together, we can do this. We are planning an orientation meeting for new faculty and staff to Tullahoma City Schools. These orientation days will be split into 2 days. One is July 20th and the other July 21st. Both will be held here at the lecture hall. Each day will begin at 8:30 and end at 3. If you have a chance, please stop by and say hi. Mrs. Matlock, if she sees you, will certainly stop what's happening and make sure you just have an opportunity to greet our new team members. I will greet the new team members at 8:30 on both mornings, so you're more than welcome to join me at that time if you would like to do so. But I know they will appreciate seeing and hearing from any board members who are able to come. And Mr. Welsh, that concludes my superintendent report.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry, you said July the 21st?
The 20th and 21st, so we will have 2 separate sections.
This question isn't about that, but that's great. I love that. When will the job description for the deputy director be posted?
So the posting for the deputy director and the nurses will go out tomorrow.
Good questions. Are there any others? If we could reach out to Ms. Blackwell tomorrow and let her email the board, or let her email you and then you disseminate it to us, Sandy, that'd be great. And please let her know that we're looking forward to our meetings being moved to Tuesday, and Ms. Lawson asked me about that tonight. I believe it's the only thing we don't know about August is, will it be here or will it be, it'll probably be here. But it will be Tuesday. Any further questions or anything to come before the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion? Motion by Ms. Fogarty. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Usselton. If you're in favor of adjourning, please respond by raising your hand. Any opposed? Thank you all.